So we'd established ourselves in our own little home in the caravan, and I was commuting from the caravan out near Nether Whittaker, Coles Hill, into the studio every day. And on Friday, Dulcie would come in with the car and pick me up, and we would go down to London and be prepared to do the weekend shows for the ATV, Dotto, and 64,000 Question at the Hackney Empire. Then drive back to Birmingham on the Sunday night, 8 o'clock Monday morning again for Lunchbox. We were lucky that it was Reg Watson, who was our director and producer, who was a very clever, off-the-cuff director, what we used to call. He could call shots and encourage a lot of humour. He was technically brilliant. He could do overlays and superimpositions. I would be singing a song. I can remember singing Paper Doll, and he had Dulcie overlaid on dancing on top of the vibraphone keyboard. He had me floating on a magic carpet singing the Rich Maharaja of Mogador with a camera on the roof of the theatre, of the studios, floating me across Birmingham, and Dulcie being a harem dancer in the studio. He could do that. The programme developed into a lot more interesting little items and a lot of funny things that we thought of. We had the things like the worst singer in the Midlands competition. A gentleman from West Bromwich or somewhere, who was a Polish gentleman, sang "Pardon me, boy, daddy chatty noochie choochie," and he won, I think. We could do really anything we liked to cause entertainment. We had visiting directors, of course, who weren't quite as efficient as Reg. Brian spent all our scenery money, so on Wednesday we had no scenery, so we did the show in an open studio with the ropes and everything hanging around. By chance, Spike Milligan used to watch the programme at lunchtimes, and the next day we had a postal order from him for 2 and 6 to buy scenery. The follow-up to that was many years later. I was in, name-dropping, Ronnie Scott's, and Spike was in there, and he looked at me, and I said, "I think you might remember me," and he said, "Yes, you used to play the xylophone." And I said, "I used to do this programme, and you sent us a postal order for 2 and 6. And he said, "Can I have it back now?" Yes, Brian's sense of humour was different as well. We did themes, as I think I mentioned before. Hadrian's Wall was one. We had a stone wall built down the middle of the set, and we were throwing polystyrene rocks at each other during the show. Then we did a pirate week, and he had Lionel strapped to the mast of a pirate ship which we had built in the middle of the set, and Jerry was flogging him at the mast, singing "When Somebody Thinks You're Wonderful." Don't think we'd get away with that now. On another occasion, when the weather was baking hot, we'd have what we called the dock doors open, which were the big back doors on the stage to let the scenery in, open, and it was baking hot. So what do we do? An Arctic week in furs and woolly hats and all songs about cold. And on another occasion, when it was freezing cold, we're all in Hawaiian shirts singing "Can I Canoe You Up the River?" I wrote songs, of course, for the, and I wrote an Irish, sitting at a harp dressed as an Irish lady, and I wrote this song, but sang it in a Cockney accent, called Blimey, God Blimey, God Blimey O'Reilly, it's a bloody long way to the Emerald Isle. And I wasn't allowed to sing that because bloody was a very rude word. I wonder what I could have said now. One occasion we went to a big park at Sutton Coldfield, which had a lovely lake, and we were going to do an outside themed show, and Roy Edwards was the singer, and he wanted to sing Trees, the song called Trees. So we got props to make some tree trunks which we could get inside. We had a family dog, Dulcie and I, an Alsatian called Zimba, who was very well trained. So we took him and let him wander around the trees while Roy was singing Trees, and we would run a few paces inside our hollowed tree trunks. And of course, luckily, the eventually scene happened that we wanted, which was Zimba taking advantage of the occasion. I also had a small speedboat which we took up to this, and we used the speedboat with 4 of us singing in it. We had visiting guest items, an astrology slot. If Andy Price would forecast the following week's events. We had a cooking spot at one time, and we had a visit occasionally from Molly Badham, who had the Tea Party chimpanzees. Brought one of the chimps in. Unfortunately, it got loose and got up into the lighting gantry, and it was there for 2 days before they could get him down. We had an insert film slot from Liberace, which was inserted in the programme, and he would often send a message which was, in those days, very unusual for a big American star to be involved in a provincial daytime television show. When we came off the air at 1:30 or whenever it was, we would have a light lunch and then sit round a table and script or routine what we hoped we could do the next day, sorted the music out for the singers and the keys, talk about if we could do a little sketch or a gag, or if somebody had an idea for something, and fit that in to whatever the production office had managed to book as guests. We all contributed to the programme in our own ways. Comedy was, of course, the accent from a point of view of, from our point of view. Lionel and I were very good at repartee. We were always taking the mickey out of Jerry, and Ken was the morose, miserable one, so that gave us another foil. And of course we could do sketches where we used these characters to good effect. Noel loved being in the sketches because she was an actress and she would give 100% to whatever we asked her to do. And the singer Peter Elliott was an actor. We have a lovely sketch, a Nazi sketch, which he was the SS officer, Jerry was the commanding officer, Lionel was the stupid soldier in a steel helmet. I have to say that we enjoyed the show. It was a lot of fun, some of the things we did. It wasn't all easy. The musical side was probably the hardest because we had no rehearsal hardly with the singers. Luckily, we were all jazz players, able to improvise and be flexible. I think we were probably the first and probably the last that were able to do this sort of show and be allowed to do a show. I've been involved in television all my life since then, and never have I known any show to be as unscripted, as free, or as risky to go on live on air every day and be able to have the freedom of doing what we did.
Indeed. As I know she'll send hers right back to you, and looking forward very much to.
You're going to send the Lord...
Who was that there? Who was that there?
You were going to... That was you, weren't you? Wouldn't you like to say a few words to
Oh, it's me.
our friend...
Right. I thought it was you.
I say, that's clever, isn't it?
And blown the camera right off the air, of course. I mean, but it's... think nothing of it. We are closing down.
A typical show on any particular day would be that we would have the credits, which were filmed, but we played live over the credits, and then we, what we call segues, went straight into the first number, which was an instrumental, and then to Noele for the opening presentation of the day's programme, when she would list maybe what we were going to do. The next thing would probably be the guest singer, either the male or the female singer, whoever we had. Then more chat from Noele, then the anniversary slot, and then maybe an item from us, either a vocal, because we did 4-part harmony or sang individuals. I did little comedy songs, Lionel sang. We could do something that we wanted to play, and or do it as a request for somebody, because we were getting loads of requests coming in for items outside of the anniversary and the birthday slot. Then we would have our guest introduction, and maybe a visiting politician or some dignitary. We had dustmen on, we had bus drivers, we had doctors, and then once a week we had our audience show with the gay 90s, when the girls could dress up and do a dance routine. Everything that we did that was unusual had to be cleared. They had to record every programme to make sure that we didn't say anything that we could be sued for, and also timing, because the commercials that ran the programme had to be timed, so they made sure that they got their full commercial time. So everything was timed. Our production assistants were marvellous, because they were working to a stopwatch. They were counting Noele down to an insert, or into the news, or into anything, a next item. And they were vital to doing a live show, working with a stopwatch to time everything as we went along. Because it was going so well, we got to Christmas time, and they decided they would like to have a special, Christmas special. Fortunately, we were able to put a big band together for Jerry Allen, the Jerry Allen Big Band, and we used that on Christmas Day live, again with a minimal rehearsal in the morning, to check the parts. We ran things through, and we did the show live with a big band on Christmas Day. We had Christmas lunch, sat round in the afternoon and discussed what we were going to do the next day, and we did one on Boxing Day as well. But in 1959, Dulcie said, "I'm pregnant." And I was delighted, of course, and thought, this is wonderful. And she wasn't. She wasn't happy at all. She thought, I won't be able to work, I won't be able to dance, I won't be able to carry on with our lifestyle, things will change. And I said, no, we won't, we'll cope, we'll manage somehow. Everything was fine. She had a wonderful baby boy, who's standing in front of me now. He's a little bit bigger. But as a consolation prize, I bought her an Alsatian. So that was all right then. So we were now travelling up and down with the baby in a carry cot. I then had bought a small camper van, which was useful because we had flat seats in the back. We came to the situation when we thought, caravan now is no good to us. I've got to find a base. So we bought a little bungalow in Oxfordshire, which was near to where where Dulcie's home was. So we moved down to Oxfordshire in 1960, near Henley-on-Thames. we got asked to open shops and do personal appearances, which again was a PR exercise really for the television company. We went out and opened a shop in Nottingham, and again there were thousands of people turned up. The police had to close the streets, and because they wanted to get pictures of us or our autographs. I went out on my own and opened little shops, and would usually end up with a set of saucepans or some tea towels. The end finally came in 1964 when we were told that they were going to drop Lunchbox. It had outstayed its welcome, I guess. It was still pulling in ratings, but nothing lasts forever. We were then offered a show in the afternoon called High Tea, which was to be much more pop orientated. So we started doing stuff which was covers really of Manfred Mann and the pop groups of the day. I decided that I didn't want to make my home in the Midlands with my new family. I'm going to go back to London and see if I can get back into the session world. By 1964, when Lunchbox finished, we'd had our little daughter, Suzanne. So we were now 2 children, 2 adults, and a new career ahead, and the end of my life on Lunchbox. And I didn't realise that it wasn't going to be so easy to get back into the sessions or the freelance playing 8 years on. Because I don't know if the public are genuinely interested in that. They want to know what, like the comedy things that happened or anything else that's funny that happened in the show. But
they're interested in your life as well. There's only 5 people who watch it. There's only 5 people who watch it. So.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but funny thing, Louis Bath, you know Louis Bath? Yeah. He's on to me, he used to watch Play School, you see. Yeah. And he said, it's because of you I started playing the drums.
Right, well, so you've got a lot to answer for.
Yeah.